Happy Friday, friends. It's Shayan with Integrity Home Mortgage, back with the rates rundown, IHMC's weekly mortgage market commentary for October 3rd, 2025. This was supposed to be a big week for me. I was going to visit some national parks, get a tour of the Capitol building, pop in on my local member of Congress, and I was going to talk to you today about this morning's employment report. It was going to be amazing. It was going to be my best analysis ever. Of course, thanks to the government shutdown, none of that's going to happen. Now, I wasn't actually planning on doing any of that stuff other than, of course, the employment report thing, but I could have. And I know it's all over the news, but here in this forum, we talk econ and not poli sci. So I'm not going to discuss much about the shutdown, other than to say that government shutdowns tend to be short lived and haven't historically left a significant impact on markets or the economy. That being said, the longer it lasts, the more impactful it can become. It's only day three today, but this one isn't making much progress. So expect us to delve deeper into the subject if we're still here a couple weeks from now. So let's go back to econ. This employment report was supposed to be the last one the Fed got before their next meeting. So it was viewed as a really important one. They're all important, but this one particularly. So it kind of leaves the FOMC in a situation where they're flying blind for the time being. Nothing's really changed in terms of what's important. It's still all about labor markets and inflation for the Fed. So let's take a look at what data we did get this week. Home prices are down on a over month basis, according to both the FHFA and S&P Schiller, which should help the overall inflation picture. According to staffing firm Challenger Gray and Christmas, job cuts fell sharply, indicating fewer layoffs happened in September, but job openings continue to hover near their 4-year lows, which means hiring remains sluggish. Payroll processing firm ADP showed that the private sector lost 32,000 jobs last month, clearly a sign of continued weakness in the labor markets. It should be noted that the data that comes from private sources are decent over the long term, but they can be based on data sometimes that's a little bit dated, and they're notoriously volatile on a month to month basis. So none of the data that we got this week should be seen as a perfect substitute for the data that comes out of government entities like BLS, like the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But as my wife often likes to tell my kids, you get what you get and you don't get upset. So, where does that leave mortgage rates? Well, in the absence of the best data, we glean what we can from what we have. This week, that looks to be confirmation that labor markets continue to weaken. The Fed didn't get important job numbers today, and they may not end up getting important inflation data like CPI and core PCE later this month before their meeting on October 29th. And that leaves markets to kind of trade as if the status quo will remain in effect. And as of last month, that status quo is to cut. Investors continue to price in a near 100% chance that the Fed will cut short-term rates in both October and December, and a slightly higher probability that those cuts will continue into the new year. So mortgage rates are modestly improved over the course of this week. We're slightly off from the best levels of the year we saw just a couple of weeks ago, but not by much. This next week coming up is scheduled to be light on data, unless members of Congress, who, by the way, are one of the very few government employees who will continue to get paychecks, start playing nicely in the sandbox, then we could get a makeup release of data we missed from this week. Barring this, there doesn't really seem to be much reason for rates to improve significantly from here, so stop procrastinating. Incidentally, also something my wife likes to tell the kids a lot. Like I said earlier, we're only about 5 or 10 basis points worse than our best levels of the year, and seasonality is helping on the affordability front. So this is a great spot to either purchase or refi a home. That's all I got for this week. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday.